I'm in my happy place. And I thought I would share something with you today that is always top of mind for me, and that is trying not to throw too much stuff in the garbage. So recently, last week, we had a heat pump put into our house, and I was in the garbage today and I found all this wire that had just been thrown in the trash by the installation fellas. And so I thought, well, I mean, I'm always buying wire to use in the garden, so I'm gonna coil it up and put it someplace nice. And we grew up in a culture of consumption and disposal, just like unnecessary consumption and disposal. And so when I see raw materials like this, I'm always thinking, how do I incorporate that into an art practice, but also into a domestic practice? So here's what I've done. I have this hanging planter, and they come with these, generic, ugly plastic hooks. And what I've done instead is taken some of this really beautiful copper wire, and I've just recreated the hook. And so I'll bend this over. I'm actually gonna bend this around a ring so it's nice and stable. And this just looks so much nicer than the plastic one. And then the other thing that I'm doing is I have some outdoor fabric that I bought. So there's two kinds. There's a silver vinyl. It's like almost like a pleather. And then there's this blue synthetic. And we have silver and blue all throughout our garden in a few spots as an accent color. So the tables and some of the pots, and then the cushions that we bought for the chairs that you see right behind us. And so what I'm gonna do is, using this fabric, I'm gonna sew some really basic skirts to go around these pots. And so the great thing about working with fabric is no matter what kind of a pot you have, the fabric can just be sewn and draped around. So for something like this pot here, it is a rectangle and it's broken. You can see it basically broke through, and I taped it to kind of fix it for now, because I knew that I was going to make, sorry about this shaky camera work, I knew I was going to make some skirts for it. And there's all sorts of places where you can do this. Like I could do it here, because this pot is not super attractive. It's kind of cheap. And then all of the black pots, like this, I can actually tie them in with the other pots in this area. Because you can see I have 3 sort of baby blue pots back here. And so the silver and that other blue fabric will tie in really well. And you don't have to have a ton of sewing skills. It's pretty basic. You're just, it's one seam along the side, and then you fit it around. And so what it's gonna do is turn this planter into something much nicer than what it came in. And I didn't have to buy an expensive planter. The fabric was cheap. This wiring was free. So for a few bucks, I can turn everything into my garden into a design feature, because we bring a constant collection of colors, a palette of colors, using the fabric to unify all the pots. So there you go. I'll show you making the construction process for these skirts, and then I'll show you the final product. So there you go. Back in a minute. So I thought I would show you the finished product. So these over here are the 2 skirts that I sewed for my planters. So this planter is actually broken in the front, but it's still a really good planter and I didn't want to get rid of it. So I kept it and I just sewed a skirt for it, you can see. And then over here, this is the other one that I created. It's circular. And so now the 2 shapes, I can't see what I'm filming here. There we go. The 2 shapes tie in together, and then I finished them off just with some rocks around the base. That's to stabilize it, but also because the rocks look really nice with this color. And so what we've done is in our backyard, we have a lot of black and white and a little bit of brown and then the green in the garden. And so we've used this baby blue color, which is complementary with all of those colors. And I'm using it to add an accent color that is unified throughout our garden. So we have it here in these pots. We have it here in the cushions around the fireplace. Then over here, this weekend, we bought these doors and drawers for this old cabinet to dress it back up because it was not very nice looking. And instead of throwing it in the garbage and having it go into a landfill, we thought we would dress it up and give it a new life. Same with those planters. This square planter over there is broken. It's got a big crack in it. And instead of throwing it out, I decided I would just sew a skirt for it, dress it up, and tie it in. And then the last thing I did is I found this little eat sign here in the garbage, and it all rusted out. So I gave it a coat of silver and then a couple of coats of glitter sparkle, and then a final coat of some clear gloss. And you can see how well that ties in with the blue. So it's sparkly silver and a blue. And over here you can see I've been at it all day. Here's my sewing machine, and this is the fabric that I use right here. So when you put it all together, what you get is a nice color scheme that ties everything together. The colors are complementary. They make the garden feel curated. And a lot of times that's kind of the secret, is just making everything look kind of special. And now I still have one more pot to do. So let's see if I can see what I'm doing here. So I still have to do this pot that's right here in the corner. So I'll do one more pot, and then, oh, there's actually 2 in there. So there's 2 more pots in there that I can do. And then what we'll have is a nice cohesive color scheme. And in fact, I might even get rid of this yellow one over here because it no longer fits into the color scheme. I'll find a special place for it so that it's highlighted. So there we go. There's my crazy idea, sewing skirts for outdoor pots using outdoor fabric to tie the whole garden together. Hope you dig it. #PoCoHomos.